Okay, thank you. So we had a few technical glitches a moment ago, so I think we're ready to rock and roll now. I'd like to welcome you all to the December meeting of the Lucy Rappinswell Library Board of Trustees. We'll move right into roll call. Go through that.
Andy Brecker,
Here.
Anna Eddy,
She's remote.
Pauline Crook,
Here.
Iris Larson,
I'm very excited.
Leanne Mankey,
Here.
Scott McBride,
He mentioned he was gonna be late, so we'll see if he's able to join.
Maureen O'Connor Lyons, who said is not coming, so Neil Ryan,
Here.
Christine Shushin,
Here.
Diane Sam,
Here.
Fiona York,
Here.
Lisa Maston,
Here.
Karen Benner,
Here.
Sheila Rowell,
Here.
David Nagel,
Here.
Sharon Braverman. That's his role.
Okay, thank you. There's no public in the room. Is there anyone signed in? Karen, is there anybody signed in? No. Okay, seeing no one here for public participation, I'll move right on to town council liaison. Dave?
At the last meeting, I told you that James Kropinski has been selected as the acting town manager as of December 3rd. He officially is in that capacity, and the board is, the council has been doing several things so that he can sign documents officially. So he is our acting town manager, at least for 90 days. Starting December 3rd. I also told you at the last meeting that a search committee had been formed, a subcommittee of the council, and they were about starting the process. Tomorrow night at the council meeting, we will hear as to where they progressed to. We know they've chose a consulting firm. Several that they've interviewed, and I'm not privy to anything at the moment of anything more than that about that process, which is just beginning and hopefully will be carried out within the 90 days. And then we'll see. If anybody has a question about anything else or sorry for that.
The search, is that like a nationwide search?
That I'm not certain whether they've gone for a area or nationwide. In other words, New England or nationwide. That hasn't been clear to me as to what they finally decided on. But we will go through that process. And as I said the last meeting, anyone who works for the town who feels they're appropriate for the position are welcome to apply. James Kropinski knows the situation, whatever.
Good. Well, I wish you a lot of luck. I was on the search committee for the director of the library and worked with a consultant, and I highly recommend that because it's a lot of work. So good luck.
I have a question, different topic though, regarding the permanent building committee. Have we gotten any farther about appointments?
Not as far as I know.
So just the one day? Just one appointment so far?
I believe so.
And which appointment was that?
I don't know at the moment. It's been a while since I looked
Joe
at
Harvey.
that.
Joe Harvey.
Yes, okay, yes, I should. Yeah, I should know that. I should have known that.
What did they appointed there?
You did know that.
Yes,
Yes,
we know.
Okay.
What was appointed for Joe Harvey? What was Joe Harvey appointed for?
The facilities committee.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for David for town council? No? All right, we'll move along. Iris, secretary's report. You have to come off mute. Okay, I'm getting good at reading lips. She said no report. Okay.
All right.
Yep, and I've got a smile from her, so I guess I got that right. All right, thank you, Iris. From there, we'll go on to approval of minutes from November's meeting. Any comments, changes, updates?
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes for November 14th.
As written, and do I have a second?
Oh, sure.
Christine will second, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I had to abstain.
Any abstain? And I'll be abstaining also. Okay, so Pauline and Neil both abstained, they were not at the meeting. The rest,
Oh, actually, I wasn't there either.
Yeah, but you can make the motion.
you can make the motion, but you have to abstain.
Okay, there you go.
You actually don't have to abstain. For instance, I wasn't there, I didn't abstain. Robert's Rules of Order,
Okay.
but you can choose to abstain, so you're fine. You feel
Thank
good?
you. I feel very good. Good. All right, thank you. Then we'll move on to the review of the annual activities committee. And for December, we start talking about 5K race sponsorships, and I'm hoping Anna gets her voice somehow. That we can get when we get down to the race committee area. The library budget is on the agenda for discussion. And we will need to verify dates for our upcoming library meetings. And that's kind of a formality and a glance at the calendar to make sure that we don't have holidays that fall on our normal meeting days, very much like Columbus Day, Indigenous Day, whatever our town is calling it these days. That falls on the second Monday of October, and so does our meeting, so we bump our meeting one over. But sometimes there are other holidays that line up. And I think we're fine with that. So we will verify that and post it up on the town. And of course, we as a collective, Lisa and I will talk about it and Carolyn will do it. As that goes through. And then PEP needs to start gearing up for director evaluations and things like that to go through. And to put it together, see what it is that we're talking about and what happens from that end. And then just a quick reminder that next month, January, we will start our meetings earlier because we'll start our 5K race. So I think these first couple of meetings, we can start at 6:30. So that means please be in this room. We'll be online at 6:30 for those meetings, and then we'll roll right into our normal business meeting at that point.
Comes out fast, doesn't it?
It does, it does. Okay, any,
So that'll be the 9th.
that's the second.
Yeah.
That's the second Monday.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Then yes, it would be the 9th.
Okay.
Okay, so Lisa nicely provided this calendar. So just quickly, the next meetings would be January 9th, and this will all be on the calendar, so you don't have to worry about it, but February 13th, March 13th, April 10th, May 8th. Right? June 12th. There are no meetings in July or August. September 11th, and that's our annual meeting. October 16th, November 13th, and December 11th. And October 16th is that third Monday because of the
You have a race date on there?
So the race date is always the Monday or the Sunday after Mother's Day,
It's the
so
third Sunday.
it's like it's the 14th.
Just want to make sure.
I think so.
Okay, I'm just looking at it and see Anna's hand.
It's the 14th.
May 14th, it's always the Sunday after Mother's Day.
Oh, I have,
Well, Mother's Day is fourth.
yeah. So
No, it's the 21st.
It's the 21st then.
It's it's usually the third Sunday in May.
Okay.
Oh, because, yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I always think of it as the week after our meeting.
Well, this meeting, our meeting falls early this week. This is the
Yes.
way the calendar goes.
Okay, thank you for those corrections, appreciate them. So that's the activity calendar. And actually in our board meeting calendar as we go through there. Any other questions or comments on that? No, I've gone right quickly. Okay, we'll go right into the treasurer's report with Leanne Mankey.
I sent it out, end of last week, I guess. I hope everybody got it. If you're not receiving my emails with this, let me know and I'll make sure that I have the right one. I checked my listing, but doesn't mean I didn't enter it incorrectly. The checking account stands at $46,004.19. We had, some larger expenditures. We had the accountant fees for the year-end statements and filings. They are on file here. In fact, Anna utilized them to get us to the gold standard or whatever it was on that charitable giving site. So that worked out well. We've done,
Congratulations to both of you.
yeah. There's been some substantial book purchases as well through the Polino and the Children's Funds, which is nice that we can supplement the toys and books collections that they have. The money market stands at in Kingston, which is unrestricted funds, stands at $106,601.19. And the money market, which is the restricted funds that are accessible right in the bank, we don't have to go back to the investment company and wait a few days, is $40,719.21. Everything was has been reimbursed, so the balances in each of the restricted and non-restricted are true. We've had a few in and out since then, but nothing substantive. The restricted, non-restricted funds, Neil will talk to the fact that the market has improved a bit, but the balances are worth about a 60-40 ratio in terms of restricted versus unrestricted funds. We also have we did receive notice from, we're in a past patrons. We have bequests coming our way, and it isn't finalized, but she has not restricted the funds. And it will be a very nice piece to add to our nest egg, but again, it takes a while for probate and things like that to settle and for them to come up with a final number. But it's really great when people remember us, not only while they're with us, but afterwards. So I'm extremely appreciative of things like that. Other than that, that's all I have for the treasurer's report.
Super, thank you. Does anyone have questions for me?
I do. The interest that we get on these funds, of course, is pathetic, which is what is being offered. Have you ever thought about moving some of these, the 106,000, the 41,000 at Santander, maybe half of the Santander checking, which I think is around 160,000, and maybe using something like a Schwab CD for a month or 3 months?
Well, actually, the 106, that was something that we were keeping relatively fluid with Kingston Investments. And then in the last, actually, when the market kind of went haywire this year, when we met with Dean, he was looking at other possibilities. We spoke a couple of months ago, and he's moving us, I believe, into some shorter term CDs to start where the interest rates are starting to pick up. Because at the time there was nothing. I mean, they were just absolutely minimal, and we were better off just holding on to see where we're at.
Right.
So now we've started to move into some CDs short term, nothing beyond a year, until we see where the market is going, because it's such a crazy thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a short-term aberration where you can get 4.5, 4.9% on short-term CDs. I mean, 1 month to 18 months. And it's a lot nicer to get $600, $800 a month in interest rather than $3.
And
So-
to be honest with you, that is something that Neil and the investment committee have discussed with him. We're keeping things relatively, a lot of it came down to operating in a very conservative realm when we were going through COVID, not knowing where our monies were going to be coming from and what the library needs would be during the course of that time. And now we're starting to get back into it. And as I said, now that the market seems to be opening up about into interest rates, they've had received a go-ahead from our investment committee to go ahead and do things like that.
I should add, I should have acted on this sooner, but I'll have to contact Dean and schedule a meeting with the investment committee just to. What I think like we just discussed here.
But that was his goal. He was looking out for some things and he was anticipating actually this month, some of these rate increases, which if you've been following the news in the last month, that's exactly when it's all come to play. He anticipated it was gonna happen, but it wasn't happening at the time of our meeting. So he didn't want to jump into something and have us committed to something at 0.5% and it's gonna be at 3 in December. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. Any other questions for you? Mr. Griffin? No. Anything online? I don't see anything online. Thank you, Leanne. Library Director's Report, Lisa Master.
Hi. So our children's department had a busy month in November. They had Dino-Vember. And they had 4 dinosaur programs for children. They had one for preschool and then they had an older version for the older kids. And it was very popular, so we did that. That was really fun. They've started outreach to daycares and preschools. So they've been visiting the schools, the preschools and daycares on a regular basis. And we're starting to have the school buses come back in on Friday mornings, bringing the preschool and daycares here on a rotating basis. I did meet with the interim town manager last week. And just, he was just asking how things were going and kind of, just seeing what all the departments are doing in this new role. The library's open on Sundays now. We started opening on the 13th of November, I believe, and it's going well and it's slowly picking up. And we're open 1 to 4. People are very happy to once again be able to come in on Sundays. Farmington Library is now live in our system. So they're part of our consortium now, which is nice. They pulled out years ago. But now we have them as well as all there. So there's 31 libraries now in the consortium. So that's really nice for all our patrons and for their patrons as well. They've added a separate or another delivery route. The state has a delivery system and then we supplement one through our consortium. So they added another route because there will be more books to haul around. We will be doing more professional development with Yvonne Alston. We did some diversity, equity and inclusion training in this fall, and we're going to be doing more in the coming year with her. And if you've gone out into the building, you'll see that we have scaffolding and plastic. They started the work in November. The children's area is done. So they did the hallway in the upstairs on the 2nd floor outside the children's room. In the children's room is done, except they're getting a new vanity. This is from all the water damage or the leaks that we had in June. So that area is done. The quiet reference area has been finished as well. There was a lot of water damage along the wall. They're going to be doing the under the skylights now. So they're going to repair the walls and paint them. So this will take scaffolding took 3 days to come up, to be put up, about a week for the painting, and then 3 days to come down. Then they're going to hit the magazine area. Because if you've gone in there, there's a lot of water stains on the ceiling. And then once that's done, the repairs are done. So it's been pretty good, a little noise, not too bad. The workers are great. So we're just happy to see all of the fresh paint and no more water stains.
So is it a contractor that's doing the work or the town?
No, it was an insurance claim. So a contractor's here with, so it's a professional contractor and brings in his painters and things like that. But they're doing a good job, I think.
Super.
Yeah. And that's all I have.
I have a question on the vans. The money came from a grant, but I have not seen any bills.
Well, we haven't started that.
Oh, I thought you said it had. I'm sorry.
Some of the preschools have transportation, so they're bringing them.
Okay.
But the van, from the grant will start in the new year, in January, I think.
Any other questions for Lisa?
Thank you.
Assistant Library Director's Report, Karen Bennett.
I think I mentioned last month our one-on-one technology services, so they're just continuing to increase. We had a dozen, I believe, over the last month, and we really have one staff person dedicated to that right now, so I think we're gonna be getting more people involved and trying to expand the service a little bit. We are continuing our Microsoft Office series. We're going to be holding an Excel Basics in December and then a PowerPoint in January. So we're making good use of the Friends funded laptops. We're happy to have them. Our notary service is being used quite a bit. We had 21 notaries performed in the last month. We have 2 people who are notaries who are doing that. The Books for You service is going strong. Staff, mostly Michelle Royer and friends, a number of people from the Friends have been volunteering to make deliveries to patrons, to Middlewoods, to New Meadow Apartments. 118 books were delivered last month, and I think they had some pickups as well, not included in those numbers. And then I know I spoke about the class visits, so Anna Reynolds finished their class visits during the month. And we're now hosting John Patterson. And there are actually 20 classes scheduled to visit in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So that's going strong. And as Lisa mentioned, we just had our wireless access point upgraded. And that's it for me.
Any questions for Karen? Do we have reach out or I know we don't have a teen librarian, but have the middle schools and high schools been looking for support from us? It's a
Very much
double
so.
head knot.
Very much so.
Very much so. All right, we need to figure out how we're gonna accommodate those. It's obvious that it's an important service for the schools in the town. Okay. Any other questions for Karen? No? Thank you. Next would be Friends of the Library, Sheila.
Well, we've been busy, sorting out books, and we have a very large donation coming tomorrow. Presumably, it's going to be about 3,000 books. From what else? From a librarian, she did own a bookstore. She lives in the Willimantic, and right now she's moving to Newington. I think she said she closed the bookstore like 4 years ago or something, and she had all of these books in her house. In a very, very old house in the center of old Willimantic, right across from the Quad Bridge. They're just, but she's got them all cataloged. She's got them by genre, and she said she would be very happy to pack them in boxes and bring them up. So,
Got a little librarian.
well, she's a bookstore. I shouldn't say librarian. She's a bookstore. She owns a bookstore. And she's apparently working on a master's in public health at Yale, and is engaged to somebody in Newington. So she's moving up because of her fiance who lives in Newington. Great. Yeah, she told us all that about her.
So she's got all the sorting done hopefully for you.
Well, there's a lot of old stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we would sort out, which we're gonna have to do. But at least it's by genre, so all the fiction's together, and it's all not only together, it's alphabetical. So that's gonna make that a little bit easier, and that's all supposed to come tomorrow.
Wow.
2:30, if anybody is looking for something to do at 2:30 tomorrow. We're all gonna be putting it in the shed to start working on it from there. What else are we doing? Working on the Winterfest, getting things ready. I think, do we sell out yet?
3 tickets left.
3 tickets left.
3 tickets left.
So
There will be no tickets at the door.
No.
no. Because we are limited, because of the town and the whole, right, COVID and all that sort of stuff. So, and we've, making some plans to do it, with lots of masks and, for the food, and being careful about all that stuff, so. That's gonna be January 20th.
Great. Busy as always. Any questions from the friends?
I'm just gonna add something. They were at the polls, 3 of the poll sites. And they were promoting library services, but they were also handing out library card applications, and we got 47 new library cards. So that was nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I just have a question as far as the tickets. Can I buy a ticket?
No, it's at the reference desk now.
What's that?
The reference desk.
I'm sorry. I couldn't-
At the reference desk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get there tomorrow.
Call first.
Yeah.
Call first. There's only 3 left.
But I mean.
Yeah. Call first.
Have you considered a special event for this 3,000 book collection? It's a wonderful story, right? It's a private librarian's personal collection, or private bookstore collection, right?
Yeah.
I would think that that might attract people from a much wider area than our own wonderful bookstore.
There are some things in it, and we're gonna have to figure out a way.
Right, once you
of
see-
looking at them, but I know there's like a whole set of the Hardy Boys. There's sets of, very old stuff. There's a lot of very old stuff that's, we know is not worth anything. But there are some old stuff that I think the, dealers would really be
Right.
interested in.
The collector community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at it once we get them all here. And have an idea of what we have.
And I mean, in terms of, if I could just visualize this, press releases and television. I mean, the idea that a trove of 3,000 books from a bookstore from who knows how long ago is suddenly seeing the light of day. I don't, it seems to me it has an angle.
Well, she's been selling them, I guess, that's why she kept them in her, so she's been, privately selling them from her, home. For all this time in the middle.
It's intriguing.
Yeah, and it sounds like fun, I mean, it's, it's gonna be different.
Right.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
I think Andy's right. I think the promotion on this, whether it be collectors or dealers or whatever, but they're also the book geeks like me who, like, if you told me you had a full set of one of my favorite authors, I'd be right down there,
And you live with your favorite authors.
Unfortunately, I have too many, so. But
She had a whole thing, she had Grisham, like, a whole shelf like this, and, all of Grisham's and. And they come to about 4 years ago, when she closed it, so there's nothing newer than then. But that's all.
And most of it new? You think all the books are new?
No, they're not.
No, she stopped 4 years ago.
Are they unused?
They're unused.
They're on you.
I think some of
I
them
don't think
are,
all of them.
yeah, I think some of them are used, but
Yeah.
these have to be, because some of the old stuff.
He had a mixture of both,
Really?
is my
Yeah.
understanding.
She had, yeah.
well, the friends will have fun doing their inventory, and then we can all get involved.
Yeah, and I just wanted to we could figure out, how do we get one of those things that the dealers have, that they wear on
Oh,
their
the
wrist?
scanner.
I mean, a scanner, on their wrist. I wonder if we could get somebody to,
That would probably be.
It's very
good to
time-
friends together.
Yeah, it's just work.
No, it's work.
Mhm.
Okay. Technology always is. Okay, any other questions for Sheila and the friends? No? All right, next up is budget, Leanne. And you can
Well-
refer to Lisa and Karen if you don't have. the
I have a
list.
couple things, and then I'm gonna turn it over to the ladies who really know what's going on. They did not get the information to us till December 9th.
It
For the
is
request of
due.
the budget, which
Well,
is
that's,
very
you
late.
couldn't get into the system until last
Yeah,
Friday,
okay, so.
which is like,
Um,
a month later than
It's,
it
it's
used to
at
be.
least 4 weeks later than usual, and the budget is due by January 5th. We are, which is, it's a hectic time, plus it's, I mean, holidays are literally right here, so it's crunch time. A 0% increase is what, has been, put into place. And, Lisa has told me we are looking to add back in that full-time, working within that 0% increase. We're looking to, no, we're gonna add it, good, okay, good. Thank you, thank you. We'll add back in that full-time teen librarian, because as you've heard previously, it's definitely a need. And we're scrambling, with not having someone in that spot. And from there, I've just taken my notes that they gave me, so I will plead ignorance, and first time I'm chairing this department, so. Okay,
No, it's just, I mean, there's not much you can do with the budget, honestly. With most of the line items, most of the personnel is set with union contracts or whatever the part-timers were given. But, and then with the payroll items, we're not really adding anything, and we have some increases, some decreases that we're trying to balance out. However, we have 2 unfunded positions in the budget, and what I did notice, which we were concerned about, but they're not taken out, but they're not even listed in the budget anymore, which,
That's not good.
no, it
we
isn't.
wanna list
I
it.
know, but, we are asking for the team position to be refunded because we're being requested, getting a lot of requests from the schools. We're trying to do programming, we're trying to reach the teens in the community, and we don't have that person anymore. And the sad thing is, pre-COVID, we were really building up the teen services. And then that all stopped, of course, with COVID, but also not having the person in place. We have staff that are filling in from the children's department as they can, but they're a busy department too. So we're gonna put it back in and see what happens. I mean, Bailey has a list of stuff that the schools have reached out already to try to get us to do with them. And we are doing some of them, but part of the problem is to send a person into the schools takes them away from here. And we're already down we're already down a position or 2 positions really. And then it's hard to do programming with a part-time person in that position as well. So we are gonna put it in and see what we can do.
And we really don't have another, well, I'm just thinking the town hall used to have a teen center for grouping and stuff, and I know Parks and Recs has programs, but that's a structured program. I could be wrong, but usually athletics are usually whatever they're doing from the teen sports. I know there's a lot of involvement from that end, but that doesn't meet every need in the town. And I know we've had discussions before that it's very hard to fill that need with our current staffing.
Well, weren't a lot of those things, like, for example, wasn't it the second language, materials and things like that? If you don't have someone who's specifically looking, you just have people jumping in to try and fill the gap. You're not addressing the need, not in a satisfactory way.
Well, we just did book talks for the elementary schools, and they've already had almost 400 hits on the book talks that we put out to the schools. So that's the kind of stuff that the teachers are asking us to do, because if they can show it in their class, at least of what we have, or books that the teen librarians are recommending, but it's very time consuming to do something like that. But that it's working for some of the kids, and some of them, when they do book talks, like, it's more effective, I think, when someone goes in person, and especially if they're a dynamic speaker. Like, a couple of them are very good about talking about the books to the teenagers. They do come in. The ones that really want to will come in, and then we also, can offer stuff in digital formats as well. So it just would be nice to be able to try to expand that again, now that things have
Well,
opened
just
up.
to meet that need in the community.
Mhm.
We're not meeting it now.
I also think too, that I know that we have like summer reading and there's the adult focus too, but I know with my students, they love to compete for like candy. Like, that's all it takes. So, oh yeah, they're like, oh, candy or a Starbucks gift card for $5. Yeah, sign me up, and they'll read $20 just to get that. So I feel like those are the kinds of things that seem small, but the kids the teenagers want to do that kind of thing. It has to be, they're not gonna do it on their own, really, like, there has to be a little bit of
An incentive of some sort, yeah.
Right.
Well, adults too.
Yeah, true. And if they have, like,
That's right. Any
you
of us
know,
will do
like,
an amazing amount for candy.
yeah. You said there's 2 unfunded. Are those both team roles or
No,
one?
it's the, collection management full-time position
Oh,
was
right.
unfunded as
Which
well.
is huge too.
Yeah.
But I don't like that it's not listed as line item with a 0. Anymore.
No,
That's not,
I know, it was there last year,
yeah, it's supposed to be unfunded, but still listed with the idea that it would come back
well,
someday.
You weren't supposed to notice.
we did.
You know, from my way of thinking, Diane's absolutely right. It's a service to the community, but anything we can do to support the schools and their mission is really important to be high up on our priority list as well. Because when the time comes and we're seeking a big chunk of change, having the Board of Ed in our corner is going to be huge. Because there's always the potential that they see us as competition. Don't want to do it. So anything we can do to really be on their side,
Well, I
we
think,
should push for it.
and I think too, like you're saying, like with Anna Reynolds School, the fact that they're closing their school library for 2 years. The teachers know how important that is, and they're the ones that reached out to us to see if we can get these kids cards. So now they can come in here and take out books, but they can also use our materials online from home. You know, check out digital books, things like that. So we're really, Karen's working with them and Circus to fill that need. And you know, the teachers came to us. Because
But
they were,
also, it's also in our. There's a selfish interest in that regard too, because if you get someone who's in 4th grade. Getting in the habit of utilizing the
Right, of
library, they
course.
become a lifetime library user.
You have, high school kids that need access to laptops for homework and that kind of thing, like, is that something that comes through?
most of them get their Chromebooks.
They have this school, so they do that now, so they have that.
Yeah,
You have a heavy use, you said, I think the other day you were mentioning. You have not so much the usage of because now they have the Chromebooks, but they need the printing services and things like that.
All right. Anything else on the budget? So we know that have to go in. Please let us know, when those budget meetings come up with town council. It's always very helpful for folks to see library faces in the audience when they go through. Because we don't care, why should they? Quite frankly.
I mean, I know
So you don't have to
basically
speak,
in
you
the
don't have to
wages
do
line
anything else.
Smiling because you know it specifically, but I'll do whatever I need to do.
Okay. Thank you. And Dave is always very good about giving us an opportunity to speak, so. And you come often enough that you know our issues, so I always appreciate your support.
I don't know when those dates are
Yeah,
coming up
No,
yet either.
it's just, the sooner we know, the easier it is for.
I just can't provide that information to you because it hasn't been given to us.
It'll be after the trust. All right, cut committee, Polly.
Yeah, I'm talking with Laurel today. She's gonna be handing over her flash drive of the information that she's got. I'm picking it up tomorrow, and she said that most of the other paperwork is, she did somewhere in the library of stuff that she thinks she couldn't keep anything. So, she told me that her next project that she was thinking about doing was redoing the trustees, handbook. So I can start working on that. I don't think you busy for another week, actually. But, I don't know. Other than that,
Really?
So I think, director's email, I think the ethics statement needs to be distributed out to the board. Yes. If that goes through too. And then, no, as you say, we can revise and look at the handbook.
Yeah.
That goes there. That some people can speak, just wanted to check that out. All right. Thank you. Anybody have any questions or?
I thought the handbook was done like a year ago. We kept getting new sections every.
But that's not, that's the
That's still what
ACLB
it's-
trustees.
So
handbook.
if you're better than, that's the dates. We have
Oh,
a trustee handbook that.
oh, the
is
other one? Oh,
For
okay.
our board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then the
okay.
ACLB is for library
Okay.
board suggestions. So probably comparing how they match. us
Okay, yeah.
And updating.
From what I understand, it's kind of old and archaic, so we can make it friendly and easy to understand.
Do we have a digital copy of that?
Somewhere.
I don't know if I have that. I know I think I have a hard copy.
I'll check for you.
Oh, Dave.
Or maybe, no, actually, you know what? Never mind. I remember now you emailed this to me. Sorry.
You don't have it memorized?
No, I know that town gave me a
Binder.
copy, I believe, but
There's no-
I remember now you emailed it to me. Sorry, yes, yeah, got it, I got it.
But that might be also something else that once you get the drive, if there are documents on there that you want, so it's top of file. for folks.
Yes, yeah.
If, you know, if it's digital, you can ignore it, you know, it's not like it's coming to you in the mail. But if you can't find it, you don't know where you put it, you don't know what computer it's on. That would be good. Right. Any other questions for Pat? Investments, Neil, right?
Yes, well, I emailed out the, November report for today. And if you looked at it, you saw that November was a good month for the board. We earned $40,079.92. Anyway, as effective, November 30th, 2022, our portfolio balance stands at $703,463.27. But November is a good month, we're up about $40,000. Last month, October was a good month, we're up about $21,000. Coming back slowly, we're still in the red for the year, but it seems that the market is coming back and showing some more life. So we'll see how the rest of the year goes. That isn't that long, but it's been a rough year for anything with a PE. It's been rough. I mean, people have lost money. It happens. But over time, we'll come back. I think it's starting to show that right now. The percentage restricted is 70%, 70.38% of the funds are restricted. And that's all I have to say. It's a good month, 2 good months in a row. That's it. Question? Comments? Complaints?
Those are my lines. Okay, I'm just looking online to see if there's any questions for you.
I do know that Dean does want to have a meeting after the first of the year.
Yeah, I have to contact him about that.
Make sure you get the investment committee folks in on that meeting. And copy me if I can attend. I would like to attend at least one meeting a year with him.
Definitely.
Any other questions or comments for you? Okay. House committee. So we had our walkthrough Saturday, and I just want to say that it's always our goal to try and get the walkthrough done before snow.
I know. I thought of that this morning.
So we just made it. I have to say, overall, the library is in very good shape. Every time I walk through this library in the last year, I am so pleased with the contractors that we have in place now. And you really notice it when you've been doing walkthroughs for a while, and it was like, look, there's cupboards here, there's this, you know, look at all this dirt, you know, you feel like you're the bad mother-in-law. But the library is clean, you know, this new contractor staff is doing so much better job. The staff has done an incredible job of weeding out and storing things in appropriate places. We, quite a few years ago, we found that extra storage area up off the children's wing, and I think that's helped an awful lot. But really, kudos to the staff for keeping things organized and moving through. I know how much work it is as we go through that. We really haven't gotten any more space. So I don't exactly know how they're doing it, how creative they are being in doing that, but the library overall looks great. having said that, I have a couple of major issues. One of my major issues is a safety issue, so I'm gonna bring it up front. The sidewalk out front here by the stairs, be very careful on that. It's got a lot of cracks. And it looks like, there was some molding, I don't know, molding.
It's filler, they put filler in.
So they
between
put
the
some filler
cracks.
in for the unevenness to try to help that out and in some of the cracks, and the filler is now gone. And it's winter time, so it's only going to get worse over the next couple of months. So that will go certainly on the list for the town to not only fix and repair hopefully in the spring after the winter goes on, but just, you know, to be aware of it, keep an eye on it, because it might be something that needs to be addressed. We've all lived in New England, we know what happens, we know how potholes are made, we know how cracks in cement are made, right? It's the freezing and thawing of the water as you go in there, so 'tis the season.
And we're starting the season in one particular spot out there with an actual raised difference between, I mean, it's a true maybe half-inch tripping hazard. All you have to do is catch your toe and someone's gonna go flying. So that's the kind of thing that we need to have, I guess, facility, not, is it facilities who do that, or is that Parks and Rec? I don't know, on the sidewalk. But,
I think it starts with the facilities.
yeah, but I think even if it's a case of orange paint on it, I know that's obnoxious looking, but at least somebody might see it before they trip over and take a nosedive right into the step.
Right, it's at the base.
So,
As you come up off the
it's
sidewalk.
not.
And there's
in
a
good-
couple of places, that's the worst place, but there's a couple of places, so, heads up. We certainly will have a work order, and I'm gonna make a phone call to just bring it to their attention above and beyond the work order. I know it's winter, I'm not expecting them to jackhammer out the sidewalk this week and, you know, pour new concrete. But I think it's something that has to be watched through the season and has to be repaired in the spring.
Just so you know, they can grind it. It's
So-
not,
There are some
Recommended.
areas where they,
so you can
Correct.
grind it, you put an elastomeric covering over it, it'll last to the spring. And it can be a lot safer
So
than
that's-
it's now.
That's
That's
a
part of
that's a
what they've
temporary
done.
fix that could be done though, yeah.
and it needs to be done again in that area, we can see other areas where they've done that before.
I mean,
So-
you grind down to the rebar, you've created more problems, but again, as a temporary solution. It's something that can be done immediately.
So if you look out there, you can see that the town is aware of that, we've done that in other areas.
Yeah, I thought I actually saw it on the town engineer's report or something that they knew that they needed to address this. I actually thought it had been addressed.
There's been some grinding and some filling, but it hasn't lasted, and we're in the season, so.
You know, the other thing I'm just wondering too, with all the construction, there was a lot of, I mean, the building shook.
The
at
ground
times,
shifted.
yeah. So I'm sure there's
That we have noticed,
cracks and stuff.
as
like
we
that.
did the walkthrough, is we suspect that the building has settled. Post-construction of the town hall and the parking lot and all of that, there's. Which you can't see now with the snow, but there were some areas over here outside that looked like the ground had, you know, pulled apart. There's some areas, back by the windows in reference, in the stacks, if you go all the way to the back. You can see some cracks by the windows and stuff, that's new, that could be building settling. Don't know as that goes through, but these are things, it's not like the building's gonna fall apart with that, but we think that there's been some shifting. We don't live in California, but we think that there's been some shifting as that goes on. There's also, Leanne pointed out, we don't know the last time the chimneys on these buildings were checked out. And so, of course, chimneys go up, then there's some stacks, then there's a heavy lintel that goes across the top of it. Over time, the mud, whatever it is that keeps that
Yeah,
there.
the mortar and coping it needs to be checked. There's a couple of places, Pauline caught one right by the front door, which is, it's a wide crack, which if you have a brick building, that's a water leak. So that's something that if they're over there checking that one, maybe they could take care of the chimneys as well, just to check them out. Otherwise, the brickwork looks in really good shape.
It did, the outdoor, brickwork overall. The Churchill door needs some tender loving care, tender being the operative word there. It is an old historic, door, to look for it, and so You know, it's not something that you would want to bring a power wash to. Some of the other things, if you go into the magazine areas and the quiet reading areas, we've talked about it for a couple of months, the upholstery there, especially now that we've reopened since COVID, that's getting worn out. It's only, a matter of a short timeline probably before it starts to fray so much that there's rips in them and we have to take those chairs out. So I think we need to look at refurbishing that. And that's usually something that the board has paid for simply because it never gets approved in the town budget. So those are the types of things. I did ask Carolyn to put together a list from the walkthrough because that's usually what she does. She followed through from Lynn Haley's area. And she did a good job trying to get it together. I got it at 7 o'clock tonight, but we all decided that staff payroll, which was due today, was more important than my walkthrough list. So I'll send that out to you when we've had a chance to review it and go through that end. But overall, the library is in very good shape from a daily maintenance standpoint. It's old. There are places that it's showing its age. There are places that we have to fix things. But I'm very pleased with the care that the library is getting from staff and from this new janitorial service. I think that's fair to say. But we will have some expenses. I think when it comes to upholstery, when it comes to replacing and updating some of the balances and stuff here, we really can't clean these and expect them to come back in one piece. So I think it might be time to update that look a little bit. And Leanne took measurements and we've been talking about the new style, what we might want to go with, keep it simple. She has donated her, or will be donating her time and her sewing machine to try and get that done. So those of you that have seen some of her other work that she's done, the quilting and other things, you'll know we're in good hands there.
It won't be quite as Roman 1989.
Yeah, we're looking for something a little bit more simple, something where the dust will just fall off.
Yes,
instead of- Anyway, so a little more simple, maybe a little bit more modern, and I use that term loosely.
Well, when they pulled the balances off in the quiet reference area, they fell apart.
Yeah,
They just,
yeah, I really think it's the kind of thing, you know, like they used to talk about the old car, don't put it through the car wash or. So I really think that it's time. So I thank Leanne for the effort that she's put into date on this and the effort that she's going to continue to give. Thank you.
Aren't you fast?
Oh, that's me. So those are some of the things that I think are most important. We had other things like the make sure that we've got the trimming of the arborvitae on a regular schedule because we don't want that to get so big. Especially because at the end of the building here, when you come out, those are emergency exit doors. So if you don't trim that arborvitae, it's going to expand and you won't have that exit area there. And once an arborvitae gets that big, you can't cut it back every 5 years because you're gonna have dead bushes in there. So if you don't maintain that on a regular basis, so it's that kind of thing to make sure that gets on a work order, make sure it gets done on an annual basis, because not all work orders are done in the same year that they're placed, depending on all the other work orders that are in there, so. Things like that, but again, the outdoor area looked good, indoor looked good. There are areas where we're showing our age, and I think quite frankly, we held off due to COVID, due to our expected renovations. But I don't think we can hold on on some of these things that we're gonna have to start in there. Anybody have questions? Anyone else that was at the walkthrough have any points that we didn't bring up?
I mean, that was my first one, so I thought, everything looked pretty good. I mean, there was, the stats, and the cracks and the. But overall, I thought it was in good shape.
Yeah, staff
Really good
areas
shape.
are still incredibly crowded. If you haven't done a walkthrough in a while.
Well, those are rough.
Yeah, the staff areas are
Don't even get me started.
very
They're
tight.
looking good.
I know, they are looking.
If you had been here 5 years ago.
Well, I upstairs I had seen before because I've been in that area
Mhm.
and it was,
So the staff areas continue to be really, really tight.
Really done.
So that's, we don't have a fix for that. And then downstairs in the basement, where the utility rooms are, where there's some storage of items, where the presence movement moves in and out, I want to replace that plastic down there and then put plexiglass up. So there's a couple of places where carts have actually gone through the sheet rock, so we've got to get that fixed and then protect it, so. Sorry, that was such a long thing, but you'll see the list on there, and then basically what happens is I'll be emailing these out and at who's responsible for it. Is it a board expense? Is it something that staff can take care of as normal maintenance? Is it something that we have a work order for the town or we have to bring in contractors for? Will be on that list, and then it will go through and, it's been done or it's still open.
Oh, the other thing was the chairs that we were mentioning.
Oh, the-
possibly,
Yeah.
getting rid of the chairs.
So there are a bunch of old Windsor style wood chairs, and the thought was maybe at some point we would offer them up for sale or whatever as a some kind of a revenue producing thing, but it's not, it was a comment and a thought that was thrown out, but it hasn't been developed.
Yeah, there's literally a room full of chairs down behind the furnace room that you say we're not using. And space is a premium, and right now, there's chairs, and they're solid, they probably could be refinished and whatever, but maybe we can get, somebody wants the chair from the library. $10. You know?
So we'll have to figure out something around that.
Buy 10 books, get a chair.
There you go.
Yeah, share.
So you don't have to pay something, take.
Any other questions or comments on House Committee? No. Maureen couldn't be here tonight, but she did tell me for facility and site that she has reached out to Leslie, who has reached out to Andrew on the lookbook. She reached out to them twice. Andrew has not gotten back to Leslie, so the process to get some pressure on him to give us some information on pricing and the setup for the lookbook, and she hopes to have that for January. And
I spoke with Maureen,
Did you?
and if I can say this in the most charitable way, she continues to be confused about the next step. What she was supposed to be asking Leslie for, to communicate to Andrew, were revised drawings. Until we've seen how Leslie's report gets translated into floor plans, we don't have a lookbook. So somehow that has to get communicated to Leslie and to Andrew, because it's been since August. We've got the narrative, but we don't have the picture. We don't have the scheme. And with those two things, and then pictures, graphics, now you have a story you can tell through a lookbook. We've got to get those drawings.
So I just want to caution everybody that the lookbook is not the final design. So it's something that gets people excited and going through that.
What we
So,
need, we don't have a design. Right now, we don't have a design.
with a concept.
The concept plan that we saw, the one effort of Andrew and his team, is obsolete.
It's not the concept.
We had all these comments. We have a revised vision. And it's that revised vision that needs to be incorporated into floor plans.
Okay, so then I would expect that they would be charging us for that.
I have
It's
no
our
problem with
initial-
them charging us for it.
Our initial work from that end was going through.
Be money well spent.
Do we know? I'm trying to think if we know offhand, looking at the treasurer, of course, what we would have paid. Actually, that was done through a PO.
That was a PO through
Yeah,
the town.
town paid for it.
Town paid for it, and it was that we had a not to exceed, and I don't believe we're at the not to exceed, there should be.
But even if we are, there's still
I mean, the revision.
north of $100,000.
You don't wanna have a narrative that doesn't match what the drawings are, even if neither one is what the final fig is gonna be, you wanna have it so that you're talking about the apples to apples, not. And that would be. What you wanna put forward, particularly in what is basically a sales brochure in the lookbook. And to be honest, in terms of his revisions, yes, it's a new drawing, but it's not, he's not reinventing the wheel.
Same
It's an
on,
updated drawing. I can't tell you as a contractor how many times I've been asked to revise a drawing.
and not gotten paid.
And not
for it.
gotten paid for it, it's part of the deal,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, and we'll share that information with Maureen and Leslie. Make sure that we're getting those to match more closely. Any other thoughts? No, except that we really don't want skylights.
No,
Move. Checking out the scaffolding and stuff, that we really don't want skylights.
Not so much checking out the scaffolding, and checking out the work that has to be done behind the scenes. Something as simple, like, for example, you were talking about the reading room. I didn't realize the water damage that had occurred downstairs on an inside wall. Where the bookshelves are by the fireplace. I didn't even realize that was impacted until you pointed that out. I was thinking more upstairs. But
Right, everything came down and then went down.
Okay. Anna, do you have a voice yet? That sounds like a no. Should you
on mute.
try to unmute her? Can you try to mute her and unmute her again? Because she was not, she was saying she didn't have a voice.
I thought she did, she gave a thumbs up.
No, she raised her hand. Okay, now she's muted and now you can try to unmute her again.
So I'm asking her to unmute. That's all I can do from here.
Okay, so it's showing that she's muted. Now
And
she's
now she's
unmuted.
unmuted.
Anna?
she's talking in another meeting somewhere in the universe.
No, she called me on my phone earlier and said that, she had been trying to say hello and nobody could hear her.
Can she call you back and you put it on speaker?
Very possibly she could call me and I could put it on speaker.
gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, hold on, let me turn you up.
We're only almost 3 years into this remote thing.
Okay. My phone is not very loud. Okay, so she tried 3 different attempts for the microphone, that didn't go through. So Anna, I'm gonna have to paraphrase what you said. When you sent out the update from Giving Tuesday, did that go to the whole board? Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay, so nobody else in the room can really hear you, so I'm gonna restate what you said. And then stay on this phone in case you have to correct me, and then we'll just wrap up. Anything else can come out in emails and stuff. I don't know. Did you try to sign off and sign on earlier? No? Okay, so let me try to paraphrase what you just said. So Giving Tuesday went well. She had sent out emails. I think we all got an email on the results from that. She hasn't heard anything else from that part. Dining partners seems to be going well with more partners signing up for that. And that's not complete yet, but it's there. Anything else, Anna? Okay. Okay, good point. So we did add in the race paraphernalia, the little readers race that we're thinking of having over there when it comes through. So that's really the only other new thing. We gotta remember to talk about that in January. And
You should mention it to Kevin too.
Yeah.
He is no.
I saw him in the grocery store. Could have mentioned it then, but so we'll do that. Anna, thank you for calling in. Sorry that for whatever reason your microphone is not working. Yeah, so it won't go on now. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out later. My technical expertise says that if it doesn't work the first time, you have to get out, reboot, and then go back in. That's the extent of my technical knowledge. But thank you for calling in with that report. I appreciate it. Any questions for Anna? Everybody's shaking their head no. Can you hear them?
No.
All right. Thank you, Anna. All right. So nominations with Maureen, we don't do anything at nominations at this point. We'll go to the communications committee with Christine.
I have nothing to say.
Okay, no report at this point.
Yeah, I just found out that I was.
Yes,
doing it. I
that's,
just found out.
that's fine. We'll,
I'm a little befuddled.
Little piece of paper, like, see it.
Yeah.
all right, that's enough. Okay, so communications committee with Christine, no report. Old business, Hanel, is there any information on Hanel? I know Maureen and Anna were gonna work on that. Well, with a couple of other people that we're gonna help. So we want to start looking at here we go, there's Anna. We want to start looking at folks for Hanel, but we also, hold on, Anna, but we also want to make sure that we don't overlap with the Friends. We need to be in communication with the Friends about when they're going to do the memory concert for Anita Wilson. Okay, Anna. So there could be, if it will be going to overlap, also, I could wait for parents to get back to me, have a conversation about what they feel is good for us to actually that big back library. Winterfest, so they need to give us some feedback on what they're comfortable with. Okay. So the Hanel folks are looking for guidance on either what size of programs we could have or when we can start to have larger programs. So
I think, I mean, really the issue I'm thinking about is more like. You've got the book sale, you've got the race, and then we have summer reading kickoff, boom, 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 in a row. And I don't think you're gonna have time to plan it between now and March. Cause we have to get footnotes out in the next week or two, so it's gonna have to be summer or fall.
okay, are you hearing that, Anna? A little bit low. Okay, so we've got a lot of programs going on between now and March. So it's not only the size, but it's the timing of the program. So I think the Hanel committee is gonna have to work with Lisa and Karen about schedules and finding out what's going on, but fall could be a good time to lock something in. Our goal is to have 2 Hanel events in a year, so let's see what happens. And maybe it doesn't have to be a large event. Everybody in for a concert. I know when we did that CT improv, we had kind of groups of people come around. So if we've got issues with the number of people we can have in a place, that might work a little better. Something like that. Okay. Thanks, Anna. Anybody else? No?
We're still being restricted.
A little bit.
Not, well. Not so, I mean, you can have big, I mean, most of the handle events, you didn't have, you had about 100 people. And that would be fine. I think it's the timing, and now that we're open Sundays, Sunday afternoons are out too, if you wanted to do a Sunday afternoon concert or whatever. But just like you said, it doesn't have to be a concert,
Right, so,
but Sundays are out for till May.
right, so Sundays are out until May, so it's a timing issue. It could be a sizing issue, right? So when we have something that would have a large draw of people, that means moving all those bookcases and stuff around. So that means our time, that means staff time, and that means when are you gonna have that? You're not gonna have that hopefully on a Thursday night when Friday morning we have to be open again, right? So we had been doing that on Fridays when we closed early. So just something to think about is not only the talent and entertainment that we might want to bring in, but how we can actually physically manage and coordinate that.
And we've even done them off-site, like for example, that Margaritaville, what was it called?
The high school.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had the high school.
Which again is timing.
Yes, timing and additional cost.
Right.
Can we not do it outside?
It's timing.
You can,
I mean,
the only thing is weather,
weather, right?
you know.
But then you wouldn't have to worry about if the library's open.
No.
Or moving
Right.
things around.
Right.
Somebody, I think you had mentioned the friends were talking about the Anita Wilson, trying to do something for her. And
So we don't want to be on top of that. either.
No, and I think the last time I talked to Natalie, we were talking about summer, and I think Anna and I talked about staying away from summer. Because of the reading program and then that. So,
We can take our cue from them in terms of their timing, because that has been on the book, so to speak, prior to ours. But, and I know the goal is two per year. It's almost like the 8 that happened for a reason, because we got 8 wrapped out in 1 year. So it's not like we haven't utilized the fund in a timely manner, and circumstances just being what they were, we can't. But I do think we ought to have something in planning stages and being creative, like something like that, CT improv might be the way to go.
So again, I encourage everybody to think about something. If you read of a group or some kind of entertainment that you've done, or wish that you could have gone to, that we might be able to bring here to the library. Anything that we can do in the library or using town facilities that don't cost us as good. Schools cost us, and we compete with them for auditorium use because they have all of their theater programs that they run. So just be aware. Those are all things I've learned over the years as we begin. What can we do at the school? Well, what do you mean they want to have their own, use their own auditorium for their own thing? So, and then, so I encourage people to bring ideas forward for that, and Maureen and Anna will probably work with you guys on timing or figuring out what happens from that end. There's no bad idea when it comes to Hingham Concert. It's just as you can hear, it's a matter of how big will it be, what timing makes sense. And sometimes it's when is the entertainer in our area, right? So sometimes we've moved things to October because that's when, like I was thinking Acoustic Idol once, and they drive themselves to the different concerts that they do. And so we had them when they were in New England. Right? So they're not flying in, we're not paying to fly them in from, Oklahoma to come sing in New England when they're not here already. So sometimes it may not be something that happens this year, it might be something that happens 2 years out.
Just a comment, in 2019, we had 8 events. Back to see, like, some of those, but possibly they could be, maybe those acts could be.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with other revisiting the entertainment talent for those things, anywhere that it worked or didn't work.
But they'll work for various reasons, they might not be, might be right this year.
Okay. I think we're done with handles, yes? Okay. Open board positions, we still have open board positions. Uh, Republican, Democrat, and corporate, so if you know of anybody that is interested in serving on the board and available. let's- Okay.
Things out there right now.
So I believe there are 2 Republicans right now and 2 corporates. And do we have? No.
I think Democrats.
All the Democrats
Dems are full.
You don't wanna.
What? I thought those were corporate.
The Democrats?
Mhm.
The Dems are not corporate. We have Dems, Republicans, and corporate, but you're a Dem, you're a Dem and you're a Dem, so we have 3
Where
Dems.
the Dems are full.
Okay, so the.
Oh, you were wrong.
Dems.
So we have 3 Democrats, we have 1 Republican, so that gives us 2 Republican openings, and we have 2 corporate openings.
Which,
It could be anybody.
Could be any, you don't have to have an affiliated, you don't have to
Oh.
have a recommendation from or appointment from the town council. This is-
okay, I got confused about that. All right.
So the nice thing about the corporate member is it could be anybody, it doesn't matter how you're affiliated. And also, if you are a corporate member, you are able to have an officer's position on the board, which means that your current officer positions can retire. For instance, the president might.
Oh, look at it.
So, that's my group of what
I
that.
already got that.
Every person on the board, is important. It's just the way that the rules were written and set up, that's where we are, and, but we're always looking for new members, no matter where or how, but the fact that we've got some, town appointees for the Republican and some corporate members open, we really can, anybody that's interested, we can go through and find a spot for them.
I think a place for us to potentially solicit some interest would be utilizing our friends organizations event in January, and in a social situation, sometimes those are the kind of, oh, I didn't know that they were doing, yes, our friends do this, but our board does this, and are you interested?
Well, and I very much so, you don't want to steal from the friends, but it is unusual for town folks who are not been involved in the library to realize that it's a 3-legged stool. Right, so the town has a piece of it, the board has a piece of it, and the friends have a piece of it in terms of who supports, who does what, how things are run, so. Anytime we can reach out and interest folks and educate folks, that's great.
And social settings do bring a different group in who potentially aren't your standard patron. And who we might hit up first. There might be somebody who's out there whose forte is board meetings, so to speak. They want to serve on the boards versus they aren't regular every week coming in and checking out the books, but they're interested in the organizational aspect. So that might be a place.
So I encourage you, if you have any friends or acquaintances that approach you, be open with them, talk about it. If you're not comfortable talking about it, reach out to me. I'm gonna put Pauline on as PEP. You can reach out to Pauline. Corporate members are interviewed by the PEP committee to come in, and it's a 2-way street, right? We try to educate the potential board member of what their responsibilities are, what we would be looking for them to do. You know, it's Monday night meetings, it's, you know, the 5K race, what's our purpose, the 3-legged stool as that goes through. And, you know, if you're not comfortable talking to them, I'm happy to talk to anybody. If you don't even want to mention it, you just want to give me their name on a piece of paper, and not mention your name, that works too. However it goes, I'll be happy to reach out, and talk to them if they're interested in the position. Okay. So then I have new business. I don't have any new business on the agenda. Anybody want to bring something up? Andy?
How much longer are you gonna have that boot?
So, never mind that I opened up the facility report with the, front, but I was, I'm turning my carriage from the grocery store when I hit a pothole in the parking lot that I didn't see. It was dark out. It was soon after the time it changed and my foot went like this. So I'm not sure. My next appointment with the orthopedist is the 21st. Oh,
Good luck.
thank you. I broke this foot and sprained this knee. I cannot tell you how funny my walk was. Ducks have nothing on me. But I'm feeling much better now. Thank you. Thank you. And
What you don't know is our vice president has broken hers too.
so recently, one of the reasons Maureen isn't here is that after I broke my foot, you don't realize
She was
how
dead.
close our corporate positions are here on the board. I broke my foot. She fell at home and broke her ankle. And I think we actually have the same orthopedist at this point. I think we were trading names the other day. So unfortunately for her, her, I think is a little bit more damaged and it's an ankle rather than a foot. So and it's closer to the event. Mine happened before Thanksgiving, so I'm closer to feeling better.
Well, get well soon.
Thank you. I'm not ready to dance, but I can try. Try. That is in the life. So thank you.
What grocery store?
We're being recorded.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just tell you, it was very dark. It was very
I'll
dark.
tell you.
I didn't see the pothole.
Right.
I fell down. I said unladylike words on the way down. I did a 3-point landing. I did my hands, my knee, my foot. And I laid there catching my breath. Nobody could have seen me. I have a dark coat, had dark pants on. Somebody easily, depending on how I fell through no fault of their own, because I was in between 2 cars, they could have run me over, run over an arm or something. So it was pretty scary. No, it's pretty scary. I think I'm going to the grocery store with a headlamp on now. Because I didn't see it. Of course, I've gone back to the scene of the crime and I did see the big crater, but you can't see it at night. And
They cleaned up all the blood.
there's no real blood. There's a little gravel in it. I could have kept. But having it been 1 foot and the other knee, it was hard. But I didn't need any surgery, so I'm happy. So I don't know if that's.
Did you go in and fill out a report?
No,
Oh.
I was in denial. I hurt an awful lot. I drove home. I emptied all the groceries in my car. I sat on the couch with ice on my knee and ice on my ankle. I went to work the next day. And at the end of that day, I thought, maybe I gotta have an X-ray. My knee is fine, maybe a little arthritic. It's not great news. But the foot's broken. I was like, oh, thank you.
A lot of small bones in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an extra one. I took one, divided in 2, it's a magic trick. So, anyways, thank you. Public participation, I don't see anybody here, nobody else signed on. Thank God, they would have been bored of that one. So I have one last thing, hoping everybody enjoys the holidays.
Happy New Year,
Get ready, I hope you guys enjoy the budget process. And, remember that our next meeting will have the pre-race meeting at 6:30. Yeah, as we get closer to the race, we try to start a little bit before that, but it should be light out. So no lamps needed. All right, then I would entertain motion for adjournment. Leanne. Second. Thank you. Christine seconds it. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed?